Alrighty, we will hop right into this. Welcome everybody to episode 5 of the JagBlitz, bringing the Duval to the internet. Host La Boyd. I'm here with my wonderful always co-host, the MC Wale. How you doing?
I've had better weeks, my friend. I've had better weeks.
And because it's episode 5 and we've talked about it, we're having our first guest host. We've got BOJ Radio. How's it going, John?
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. Very honored to show love for my diehard hometown team, as always. So let's get to it. I'm ready.
Yeah, we're a stream, podcast, YouTube, whatever you want to call us. We kind of go over some stuff. Kind of the flow for the show is we'll go over a couple of topics, typically 3. Those topics will get expounded upon. This week we've got preseason game number 2, kind of our thoughts and feels. Do injuries, the amount of them. Do you want less preseason, more preseason? And then we'll look ahead towards this upcoming Friday versus the Lions. So let's kind of hop into the nitty gritty here. Preseason game 2. What were your thoughts there, John?
There were several things, obviously, that stood out to me. I have several notes. One of the biggest things that stood out to me take care of the bad things first is the lack of depth that the Jacksonville Jaguars seem to have on the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary. Now, I know that we brought in people during the offseason, but I feel like one major injury at not linebacker, at cornerback, one major injury at the safety, strong safety, full safety, free safety, whichever one you prefer, will probably put us in a bad spot. And we can also see that the depth at the defensive line position is going to be an issue because there were times when we got gashed through the first couple of games. I've seen a couple 10, 15-yarders. And I know that teams are not game planning. They're just kind of playing something. And if they're game planning for this, then we're definitely going to we're going to be in some trouble. So, well, yeah, it was an excellent game. Bortles, I'm going to go through this because this is one of my things with quarterbacks. As a quarterback, you absolutely must go through progressions 1 through 4 within the first 6 seconds of your drop back if you're not in the West Coast offense. It's imperative. And last year, he couldn't do that because he simply did not have the time. He was always, as soon as he got back and he was going 1, 2, he was having to move, or he was getting hit, or it was somebody was in his face. He couldn't stay there to accurately put the ball where it's supposed to go. This preseason so far, it appears to me that the offensive line can at least pass protect. I don't know about the running game. I'm going to reserve my just deferred running game until we play Carolina in the season opener. But as far as pass protection, having a good pocket for him to accurately throw, he's put so much effort, time into straightening out some of his mechanics, his footwork. What quarterbacks have done that in his second year? You know, I really like it. I still haven't seen TJ Yeldon, waiting to see that, so I can kind of hold off on the running game. Toby Gerhart, tackle break. Well, we say his tackle break is like maybe, 79, 78, Madden 16, He's increasing that.
That didn't take long to get that reference in there.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else we got here. And one other major thing that I got here is Bortles' command of the offense. And I know they talked about this you see it all the time on Jaguars.com. And you see Mike DiRico from ESPN, who's our beat writer for our team. They talk about it all the time. The thing about it is he knows exactly where everybody's supposed to go. Instead of just telling everybody to move out of the way, get set, he's telling them to go to specific places. He wants them to do a specific thing. He knows the offense. And for somebody that's had to learn a new offensive coordinator, that's huge. That shows a very high IQ. So I think we did pretty good overall. Again, your boy, I had to go ahead and bring this up. Your boy, what I'm saying, one of the fresh, young wide receivers of the National Football League said, the Jaguars DBs, they were gunning for me. I don't like that because it's the preseason. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wait, so you want us to let you burn us in the preseason so people can continue to talk bad about us? Because I saw with my own 2 eyes 3 plays, the deep bombs, Well, I knew the cornerback was like, oh no, but the safety was there right when the ball was going to get there, and he would peek, and he was short arm, and I'm like, oh, things have certainly changed in one off season. It's lovely to see. I don't think we've seen that since what's the guy we had from Florida a few years ago? He was a free safety.
Reggie Nelson.
Yes, Reggie Nelson, despite his issues. I'm not saying he didn't have issues.
The fact that he was out of position 9 times out of 10.
When he was in the position, he was a true free range safety, which I love free range safeties that can cover end to end. So that was my initial thoughts. Mr. MC, what you got for us?
All right, my initial thoughts is that the Jags, both offensively and defensively, they had their moments where they looked good. That they also had their moments where they struggled. Having Blake, what you mentioned about Blake having 6 seconds to get through progressions. I mean, how many quarterbacks legitimately get 6 seconds to go through all of their progressions? If they all get 6 seconds, they'd all be Hall of Fame quarterbacks. But I do agree with you. He actually had, not only did he have time, but he was moving his head from right to left across the field, which was encouraging because even though he had glimpses of that last year, you saw it was because he was a rookie. Like he would take the ball and run. This year, he seems to be a little bit more comfortable in the pocket. The offensive line, outside of one semi-bad Luke Jokel play, and it wasn't even really that bad because it was a completion to Allen Robinson. The offensive line played pretty well. They were opening up running holes for Denard Robinson and Toby Gerhart, and they look to be improved. Now, once again, this is preseason. We can't put too much stock into it, but it's encouraging. The defensive line, though, still, I have major issues with that front four. Even though we had Jared Odrick in there, and then you also had Roy Miller playing, you still didn't see any sort of pass rush whatsoever. I mean, Andre Branch, just a guy. He's just a guy. You know, Ryan Davis is he's still a better pass rusher, but he's your sub guy. Yeah. You know, I don't know where that pass rush is going to come from. You made note. You made note that the secondary seemed a little questionable and that there might be depth concerns. I'm not too concerned about depth. If McCray goes down, then Gratz is going to get it playing time. If Gratz go down, then you'll see Jeremy Harris step in there. Watching Nick Marshall, kind of the undrafted quarterback turned cornerback from Auburn, he's starting and making plays.
An athlete, man.
He is making some plays at the cornerback position, and I mean, he's only played the position for 3 months at best. So I mean, there's a lot of encouraging things to see there. But then again, I also look at how bad the Giants really was. Eli was not good.
No,
on Saturday night, he was not good. Agreed. There are 4 or 5 throws that if he was even remotely accurate, they are long gains or touchdowns, but he was just off. Now, I do like the fact that our corners were pressing and giving OBJ a problem, because for him and Victor Cruz, for them to actually complain about it, he speaks volumes for how much they've turned that secondary around a little bit. And even though it was a 22-12 loss, right, I don't see it as a loss. It was a highly competitive situation for the first half between both the offenses and the defenses, and I like to say I feel a little bit more comfortable with the direction of this team and where it's headed into the regular season.
Just a quick summarization for myself. I'm right there with you. My thoughts was Blake is looking improved, and it's not like other improvement that we hear with other people that go through a struggle their first year and they go with we'll call it a QB guru to improve on their mechanics or the way that they play. It really seems like Blake has really done that in a sense where he's making timing route throws, he's anticipating throws, he's making over-the-shoulder deep ball throws, which we did not see last year. That dime to Hearns, which Hearns should have caught, you did not see that last year. And that was a perfectly thrown pass into double coverage, where last year that's an interception. Or it's widely overthrown or underthrown. There were a couple throws to Allen Robinson where he had thrown the ball before Allen Robinson even made his break. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is some improvement. My glaring concern was that the moment they pulled Blake, we sucked on offense. And it was terrible. And
you can't put it all on Chad Henne either. in my opinion.
I will always put it on
always
Chad
put
Henne.
it on Chad Henne.
Always.
See, I disagree because, in my opinion, he has a much stronger arm than Blake, in my personal opinion. And
What? No.
you guys don't think he has a strong arm?
Hell no, man.
No, not at all.
All right, you know what?
No,
all right,
I think that Chad has had. You know what you're gonna get out of Chad. You've seen Chad in Miami. You've seen him under, let's say, 3 years of Jacksonville offense. 2 with Gus, and then 1 with what's his face? I just ignored.
Mike Malarkey.
Yeah, somebody I just ignored that it ever happened.
I'm so glad that man's gone.
And that Chad Henne will have glimpses here or there, and that's it. He's not consistent enough, and he's playing against 2s and 3s. He wasn't playing against first team defense. He's playing against 2s and 3s. This is his time to shine, and he looked terrible.
He did have a touchdown pass.
Okay.
I was just.
So did Stephen Morris.
I mean, yeah, I would prefer to see Stephen Morris or Jeff Toole. But no, that was my concern, was the offense. The other concern was Puzz being Puzz, getting blasted. And, oh my gosh.
Oh, God. Here we go.
It was just.
Here we go.
I'm sitting there, there were the run gashes where Puzz was out of position. I'm like, you're supposed to be the run guy. This is why we kept you, was to block the run. The Giants don't have some tight end that's going to burn us. So I said, okay, this should be some good effort here. No, I was like, oh my gosh, just pull Puzz, keep Telvin Smith. I don't care.
The wrong linebacker signed with the Jets. They should have cut pause.
Yes.
And they should have said
JT Thomas.
JT Thomas. Because JT Thomas was making plays.
And he blew us up.
And Craig, and one other thing about Craig Loston filling in for Jonathan Cyprien.
That was actually pretty good.
I think he played better than Sip has in the preseason. I'm not saying he should be the starter. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I do feel a little bit more confident in that strong safety position.
Agreed. And he had a good run back for kickoff return and a couple other things. Green is looking really good on punt returns and kick returns. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys have both touched on it. Our pass rush looks terrible. It's embarrassing, and I'm wondering, for a team that got over 30 sacks last year, like how? Like how?
It was all schemes.
How do we get?
Here we go.
I'm just wondering, we improved. Granted, Fowler's hurt for the year, but we improved. We got more people to pass rush.
I think the biggest thing right now with the defensive line of the Jacksonville Jaguars. With defensive line, here's the issue. Here's the big issue, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that I watch specifically because throughout the game, I've learned the patience of watching positions instead of just watching the ball. Very difficult thing to do, especially from the angles that you get when you watch it on TV, not from a tape standpoint when you're actually breaking down game.
I agree with you.
I actually watched the defensive line for like a whole quarter in the second quarter, okay? And the biggest issue that I saw with the defensive line, they had a couple batted balls because we had some very tall defensive linemen, a.k.a. Gerhart Odrick. My biggest issue is it's like they went to college without knowing how to shed blocks. They were getting moved wherever the offensive line wanted them to move when they were passing the ball. They couldn't, and one of the biggest things you have to do in the defensive line is either you're pushing the offensive lineman into the quarterback or you're shedding the blocks to get penetration. They were doing neither. Now, if they were just doing bull rushes to get the quarterback, I could live with that. But they weren't doing that, nor were they shedding blocks. So offensive linemen were just holding up this sticky wall right here, and it was just elastic a little bit, and it wasn't doing it. I can't deal with that because at some point during the season, Derek Mark's coming off of that injury like he did with a knee injury, major knee injury, even though he's had the whole offseason to improve upon it, and I'm not doubting him. I'm sure somebody's going to go down or get hurt at some point in the season. It's just the nature of the NFL. So I'm looking at the second string, and outside of Gerhart Odrick, I don't know. I mean, that really concerns me.
He's not even your pass rusher. He's
exactly.
the guy that,
We're counting on Branch and Clemons.
and Ryan Miller. Ryan
Ryan
Davis.
Davis. I was gonna say Ryan
Ranch.
Davis.
What was the other guy's name?
Ryan Davis and Clemons. Chris Clemons.
Supposedly Ryan
Those are your
Davis was having
Leos.
a good camp, right? The
Say
reports
what?
that I heard was Ryan Davis was having an excellent camp.
He is, but the thing is he's not an outside rusher. He's the guy that you sub in and you kick inside on a third down
Yep.
when you know that it's a pass rushing situation, and that's how he gets his sacks. Andre Branch is supposed to be that Leo position that you stick out on the left or right side of the football,
And get
right
to the
side of the
back-
line, and
and
say,
get to the
"Hey,
quarterback."
go win your matchup and get to the quarterback," and that man cannot do it.
He just
I don't know what it is. He's okay. He's mediocre. I don't know. I don't know.
Play him at middle
can't figure it
linebacker.
out.
Play
No,
middle linebacker.
he'll get destroyed. He'll get
Yo,
destroyed.
did you see? You saw him in
He'll get
coverage what he did
destroyed.
against
I
the
did.
Lions last year. He got a pick. I don't remember why he was downfield 25 yards in coverage, but he got an interception.
I'm right there with you.
Play him at middle linebacker. Call it a day. You know,
Then-
6'6" middle linebacker.
He probably covers
Is
more
he,
than Puz does.
is he fast
He
enough
might
to
cover
play middle linebacker? Is he faster than Paz?
Yes.
Oh yeah, most Puz.
Yes.
Most people are faster than Puz. So
If he's
I'm
faster
faster
than
than Buzz, and I can't run.
we'll head to topic 2. So injuries for the Jaguars are starting to pile up here.
Oh God.
We've got Cyprian, who's out for the rest of the preseason. He was injured last week, hand injury. Gerhart, he pulled, we'll call it an abdominal area.
What is that?
That's
What
what
is
they're
that?
saying. They're saying lower abdomen, abdominal
ab
area.
area.
That's
Yeah.
really
Stuff that
that's
we don't have.
really. I'm really when they reported that I was really kind of I don't know about that. That injury is based on what he played on Saturday. I don't see.
I
What
don't
did
know.
that happen? What did that
Aurelius
come from?
Benn,
I don't understand.
broke his clavicle, but
Oh.
he didn't look like he broke his clavicle.
Yeah, it didn't look like he did anything.
He was,
just
he's
like,
on
oh, hey.
IR.
He can get cut, man.
You got McCray. McCray got injured. Leroy Reynolds. Marquise
Well-
Lee. We still haven't seen Marquise Lee this preseason. Julius Thomas is out for the rest of the preseason. Supposed to play week 1.
Huh?
And Marks, we don't know when Marks is coming back. They're kind of hemming and hawing as to.
He's
I don't
not
know
come
if
back
he's
to the regular season. He ain't come back to the regular
Well,
season.
yeah, but I mean, we're not talking week 1, week 4. We don't really know, and I don't want them to rush him back. And of course, you've got Fowler on IR.
So let me ask you guys a question.
All right.
When it comes to Marquise Lee, I don't want to call the man injury prone, but when you're in camp and you cannot stay healthy, that's an issue because you're not on full contact. You have to. Is he not stretching? Is it his diet? What's going on there? I know injuries happen because Dante Fowler went down in the first round. I know, but I'm just saying.
Hamstrings are a touchy thing because it's one of those things where, I mean, no matter what stretches you do or what kind of exercise or training regimen
Yeah,
that you
the
go
Jaguars
through,
have that like
I
board
mean,
for hand
yeah.
and shit like that.
but I mean, your hamstrings are weird, man. Like sometimes they'll just tighten up on you for no reason. It's not due to diet or exercise. It's just the way your body is built and the way it operates, and it's unfortunate for Marquise because I know it's killing him to
Yeah, he
just be
wants to
sitting on the
play.
sideline. He wants to play, but these injuries, the hamstring is just causing problems. But I do respect that the organization is kind of easing him into it versus being like, all right, well, if you don't get your injury, like hamstring situation taken care of in 2 weeks, then you're
They're
not
giving
going
a
to play.
fair
No.
square shot for the regular season, essentially, is what they're doing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it's like, look, I would much rather have him be ready to go week 1 than him just to show that he could run in
And re-injure himself.
Yeah, in game 3 of a preseason game.
So sorry to interrupt. We're gonna go through the next topic here. Do you
Okay.
think with the amount of injuries, this isn't just with the Jaguars, we'll go over the NFL as a whole here.
Mhm.
With some big name players like Pouncey and
Mhm, I heard
Jordan
about that.
Nelson and Kelvin Benjamin and stuff like that. Do you think that the amount of preseason games should be shortened? Because if you talk to coaches and players, which I think players specifically, and I don't know if it's just players like saying, yes, we love to be here. They're saying no, they want the 4 games. And some we'll call it, full of themselves reporters are, say, yes, we want 4 games. But if you talk to fans and past players, so people that have left the game, they're saying no, 2 games is all you need. Do you think with And we talked about this, I think, last week, Wale, where it seems like there's more injuries now than there used to be. Do you think that there should be less preseason games, or are you okay with the 4-game format right now?
Go ahead.
Oh, look, here's the reason why I think that the preseason should be cut to 2 games, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the players. I just think that, like, I pay for season tickets, and I'm paying for 2 preseason games that don't matter to me at all. If they don't matter to me whatsoever. I think they can. I honestly think that they can cut the roster down in 2 games, because going from 90 to a 53-man roster, you've seen all these guys through OTAs, you've seen them through training camp, and you see them through the first 2 weeks of the preseason. I think you have a good idea of what your true 53-man roster is. Now, that being said, I think a fair concession would be if they were to cut the preseason down from 4 weeks to 2 weeks, then I think you add 2 or 3 roster spots. So instead of it being a 53-man roster, it's a 56-man roster.
Or 57.
Or 57. Right.
So there are, I was actually thinking that this might be a topic, which I knew it probably would be. There are 3 major things, people, that we have to keep in mind. Number one, and you guys could probably disagree with me with this, that's fine. This is just my personal opinion based on what I've observed. I really think that there's an issue with the diet and stretching routines of a lot of NFL players. These are really big guys, and when you don't stretch properly, you tend to get more injuries. I really think that's a big deal, and I don't see a lot of guys stretching properly in NFL. That's my personal opinion. The second thing here is this. We're dealing with, once again, a sort of a fans versus the owner kind of thing, because the owners want to milk the game for everything it's worth. So in their mind, preseason games, even obviously it doesn't bring as much people, it's still bringing in revenue and helps them engage for the regular season. Now, here's the issue. You were talking about having OTAs, camp, scrimmages, and some teams scrimmage against other teams, etc. Does that really give you a feel of what a player can bring to the table at an NFL level? That's highly questionable. So I could agree with 2 weeks of the preseason, but going into it where there's set rules that say after the first quarter or after a certain part in the second quarter, you must put in your backups, all of the backups in totality. You can't leave starters in there, because if you're going to cut it down like that, you have to see them in live game time. And let's be honest, wide receivers and running backs, specifically wide receivers, always get the short end of the stick because teams are always running the ball to run the clock out. So they already know partially who they want to keep without even looking at people most of the time, in my fair opinion. So it's a tricky thing. I would love to do that. I don't want to see the NFL season long. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, make it 18 games." I do not agree with that.
No,
I don't want to see that, because we're dealing with so much health issues now, and we have some of the best doctors in the world and best health facilities in the world, and you're adding 2 more games onto it. The wear and tear, running backs' lives have been shortened so much already. Wide receivers are going down in flames. Let's just keep it down to 16 games. I think that's manageable for everybody. It's such a physical game. And I heard somebody say that this is my far-fetched idea just for this show, for you guys to think about. Just something to chew on. I have a friend that I went to school with. He's from Great Britain. And he was telling me the biggest issue with American football is not the injuries, it's that we use pads. And he says the pads cause the injuries. He was telling me if it was like rugby and they did not have all the padding on, that there wouldn't be of course they have injuries, but there wouldn't be nearly as many injuries, the ACLs, the hamstring tears, the torn shoulders, so on and so forth. Just a thought. I know that's out there, but just something to think about. Was the NFL feasible without so many pads, especially the helmets? Quarterbacks always, cracking their hands on the helmets, getting bruised hands, broken fingers. The torpedo hits where they say some is illegal, some are illegal. We don't know because some of these guys don't know how to tackle, and they can't tackle. So there's a lot to this. There's really a lot to that.
I don't think that taking away the pads, specifically like just now, because you've got players that, like, all of these players have played in pads and helmets. Like, I heard someone say, well, one way we can cut down on concussions is if these guys play without face masks or if they play without helmets completely. It's like, no, that's just going to cause more issues because these guys are flying at ridiculous.
I couldn't hear you. Go say it again.
I said these guys are flying at like high speeds and just collisions into each other, and it's just. Right. I think it's just tough for them to. I don't know. I guess more research would have to be done.
But don't you think that if they didn't have the pads on, they'd be more precise in the way and how they tackle? Because in the NFL now, especially cornerbacks and safeties, they just throw their body at people. They don't care. They don't try to tackle most of the time.
They do the same thing in rugby if you watch it.
Again, just food for thought.
So, I'm a little, I don't want to say, I can kind of see both sides here. I can kind of see the idea of shortening it. To me, it's all about product on the field. And to me, when we're watching 4 preseason games, we're not getting that product on the field. And it's kind of the same with why I think that baseball should shorten their season and the NBA should shorten their season. I love watching baseball.
What about NBA, though? I don't know about that.
Yes, please. I don't want to see some ragtag team of the Spurs play for 20 games of the season. I want to see starters.
Okay, I see.
And same thing with baseball. I don't want to see my ace pitcher only 25 times a year. And it's 162 games. So I don't want to see the season extended. I get why coaches want it, because coaches want every analytic thing in the world, especially with analytics becoming more and more prevalent and more used. They want to be able to go through and see how this player can be here. And you may, if you're the Patriots, you may get some Julian Edelman to come out of nowhere. You may get some Woodham to come out of nowhere. You want that ability to see, some diamond in the rough or whatever.
Wait. Did you say Woodham?
Yeah, whatever. I can't think. Woodham? I did say Woodham. I did say
Woodhead, my friend.
Woodhead. Yeah, Danny Woodhead.
Two are the same.
Yeah, they're about the same. Danny, you want the ability to see as much tape as possible of players so that you can assess. To me, as a fan, it's garbage. It's garbage on the field. I went to the game 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go through. I'm going to sit there for the first quarter, maybe quarter and a half. Blake's going to leave, and then I'm going to leave. And it's like, okay, same thing with this weekend, this Friday. I'm going to sit there for the first half, and then the first drive of the second half, and then I'm going to be like, wife, let's get out of here. Let's go. I don't need to see Chad anytime. Like, I don't. I just don't need to see. I don't need it in my life.
You don't want to ruin your night like that.
I've experienced it.
You guys are horrible towards the backup quarterback, man.
I've experienced
we are hard
against
all the players of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but we love them the same.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to see Chad anytime. I don't want to see Tool time. I don't want to see Stephen Moore's time. I want to see Blake time. I want to see progression. I want to see good product on the field. I'm paying for it as a season ticket holder. And you're basically like, yeah, whatever. Like, if there were certain things that they did, like free parking on preseason games, or I don't know, they're gonna give you a discount on concessions for preseason games. I would be more inept to be like, okay, I'm still paying for it, but the fact that my preseason ticket costs the same as my game 1 day ticket just doesn't sit well with me.
Here's how you do it. All right, parking half price. Like all of the food items or whatever, half price. Make it easy. Make it easier for us to come in there.
They're making the killing.
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, the first preseason game at the stadium, there was at least 40,000+ people there.
Wow.
So I mean, it wasn't full by any means, but I mean, there were people there. There were fans of both teams. So that's where I'm at, in a sense that shortening preseason would be fine. I'm with Wale that if you're going to do it, I would not extend the roster as much as maybe you extend camp. Give them more time so the coaches will be happy for camp. And then it's up to the coach's discretion to sit the starters. A great example is Chris Clemons. This is the third game we're finally getting to see Chris Clemons. He's been there the whole time. It's not like he hasn't been there, but as a veteran player, he's like, screw this. I'm not going to expose my body to it. I'll go for what they call as, the curtain call for the actual season itself. He's going to play in the third game. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
So, based on the first two games that you guys have seen, do you guys still think the biggest weakness on the Jaguars lies in the offense or the defense at this
Pass
point?
rush.
It's pass rush defense.
The pass rush?
Pass rush.
Absolutely.
I was thinking along the same thing. I actually want to say the passing game because of the drops. We've had so many drops.
Yeah, there's no way to really, I don't want to say fix that. That is what it is. Receivers are going to catch the ball. They're not going to catch the ball.
Yeah, but that's an issue if they're doing it in preseason. Is that going to carry over? Do you see what I'm saying? Because, of course, Blake missed. He missed plenty of times in the preseason already. I know that. But there were passes that were on the money.
Oh yeah, they were. They were there, and there's nothing you can do other than put glue on your hands like that kid from the Little Giants and hope that
Yes, nice callback.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
throwback.
There's not really anything you can do. There's no coaching. There's no. I mean, I remember we had a player a while back that got like LASIK surgery because he said, "Oh yeah, I wasn't seeing the ball as well." So okay, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that to happen or whatever.
But I got that 2015 vision.
Yeah, I know. There's only a few things that you can do. I mean, if the balls are coming out on time, they're hitting you where you want in the hands or near the chest or whatever, there's not really anything you can do to fix drops other than replace the player. So I don't think that's something you're going to do at this point in the season, as much as it is where I want to see the progression. We've ran... In games 1 and 2, we ran completely different offenses. In game 1, we ran a 2 tight end or 3 tight end offense because we had Thomas.
I noticed that.
And then in game 2, we ran a very heavily wide receiver, 3-4 wide receiver offense. And they acknowledged they were going to do that. Like the offensive coordinator was like, "Hey, I'm going to run this off. I'm not going to run my 2 tight end offense because I don't have Julius Thomas." And so I would want to see, and we'll roll right into our last topic of the evening, game 3. The thing, if we're talking offense, that I want to see is I want to see the 2 tight end offense without Julius Thomas. Let me see Clay Harbor. Let me see Mercedes there. I want to see if that offense can function just because Thomas hasn't been the most durable player in his career. Neither has Lewis either. So I want to see if we can run that 2 tight end offense because that 2 tight end offense the first game looked good. It definitely looked good.
That reminds me, I had a question for you guys. Mercedes Lewis obviously took a huge pay cut this offseason. You guys think that he becomes the passing tight end behind Julius Thomas? Has he come blocking? Is he in the middle? What do you guys foresee for Mercedes?
All the above.
Going into all the above? Okay. Because I haven't seen...
What was the question again?
What do you guys see as Lewis's role for this season?
Yeah, blocking, passing, middle...
Mix of both.
Yeah,
I see a lot more blocking than I see receiving, but once Julius proves that he's a viable weapon in the middle of the field, you'll start to see Mercedes getting some catches.
So we will roll right into our last thing. So we got preseason game number 3 coming up here Friday against the Lions, nationally televised on CBS.
Yeldon time.
And I know it's going to be our first look at TJ Yeldon. He's supposed to play. Chris Clemons supposed to play. And then James Sample. He's a game time decision. And then we also got the announcement this past week that I'm going to have Wale say the name because I'm going to butcher it again.
Wait, what?
Stefen
Wisniewski. I'm sitting here like, what are you talking about? Like, what name could he possibly have problems with?
He was announced as our official season starter at center, so that's kind of where we're gonna go with that. So I'm curious to see that solidified, to see what it means for the offensive line, because that means consistency. Blake was asking for consistency there so he could get everything down. So let's start out with the MC here. What are you looking at this for preseason as our prep for the season? Because our starters won't probably play at all for the 4th game.
I want to see touchdowns. This is the point of the season this is the point of the preseason that I want to see our offense look closely to what we expect to see during the regular season. I want these guys to be able to drive down the field and not kick field goals. I want them to be able to drive down the field and score touchdowns. Doesn't have to be 4, just maybe one or 2. See if you can do that in the first quarter and the second quarter. Just build up some momentum, be able to move the ball. Defensive wise, Chris Clemons. Let's see if he can add a spark. even if it's just increasing the amount of pressure that a quarterback feels. I mean, you're going up against Stafford, so you're going up one against the top 15 quarterbacks in the league. So you're going to have a challenge. And as much as I want to see T.J. Yeldon, I really want to see Denard Robinson kind of have a breakout game. Because Gerhart has been playing pretty darn well, averaging about 4.1 or 4.2 yards a carry in the preseason, and he looks like a guy that could kind of hold off Yeldon. Even though Yeldon, by far, is probably going to be like, we want Yeldon to be this, hey, first play pops off 20 yards or something like that. We want to see that, but I've been rooting for Denard for a couple of years now, man, and I hope that maybe this could be a game where he breaks out and shows, hey, maybe you guys don't need to give up the starting job to TJ just yet.
Okay, so my thing here is I would like to see the secondary get an interception, and some people might say that's not really that important. We need to start doing that because on some part of the defense, we need there to be a tipping point. We need there to be some type of leverage. Either it's going to be rushing the passer, which is in high question at the moment, or it's going to be quarterbacks double thinking those deep bombs because the safeties are going to be there. And I really want to see at least one pick six. So at least in the mind of the offensive coordinator, at least in the mind of the quarterback's coach, at least in the mind of the QB, oh, man, I don't want to throw over to this time. Let's throw over this side. We're anticipating you throwing on this side because we had a pick six over here. Now we're talking about them thinking that extra second. That extra second can be used by the defensive line to actually get – I need something from the second. I need some – the guy from Auburn is Nick Jacobs. Nick Marshall? Nick Marshall. I'm sorry. Nick Marshall, who, by the way, when I heard he became a cornerback, and in my mind, I'm like, I was thinking about the way he ran the ball at Auburn. And I was like, is this going to work for him doing it the other way around? Because he hasn't done that in so long. And here he is. Gus Bradley is raving about the man. I want to see the man make some plays. I want to see a pass breakup. I want to see him stick like glue on somebody. I want to see him say, I want to make the roster. I'm committing to make the change. Get an interception. Get something. Drop the ball in. I don't care. I want to see this man make. He's done good so far. I think he got burnt once or twice. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, but so did Devon House.
Yeah. He's our starting corner.
Yeah,
he's our starter.
And this has been an issue with Jaguar safeties for DBs for years. Even back when we had Rasheem.
Man, Rasheem's coming back.
I know Rasheem's coming back to Jacksonville. Home. He's coming home. He still plays.
They would do these plays, and my dad, who's like, Jaguars going to lose this year, he'd be like, oh, they're getting burned on this play. I'm like, oh, be quiet. I'm watching the game. What would happen? Deep bomb. Where's the cornerback? Where's the safety? Why is the safety 5 yards? It's just ridiculous. I'm tired of seeing our DBs getting burnt. There should be a shell back there of some type.
We gotta hope that James Sample or Sergio Brown can be that free safety, because let me tell you, man, like, even this is talking about Rasheem Mathis. He got an unfair break here in Jacksonville in the later years of his Jags career, and it was not necessarily because of his play. Most of the time, it was because the safety up top was not doing the responsibility, and that's why he looked bad. You've not heard a single bad thing about Rasheem Mathis getting burned in Detroit, and he's been there for 3 years now.
Yeah, he has, and he's already an older player too.
Yeah, and he is already old as hell. So think about it, man. Think about that for a second.
I just remember these plays where it'd be every time on Rasheem's side, and he'd be like 6 yards behind the receiver, and in my mind, I'm like start back further, play soft zone, soft 3 covers, something. But I want to see the secondary make a play. I'm not worried about Yeldon. I would love to see Sample make a play. I'm not really expecting anything out of him. He hasn't really seen, quote unquote, the NFL speed. I'm sure he'll be fine. They're going to be very cautious with him with that type of injury. I'll let him get time to acclimate. I'm not worried about that. That'll just be added bonus. So I really want to see the secondary. They got up in ODB. You know what I'm saying? I want to see them continue that, because honestly, last year, they gave up booty on the back end, man. Like they gave it up, man. Like, And the thing is, it's like you can get gashed up the middle, okay, but to get burned on, you can see that coming. As a fan, I'm looking at the game and I'm like, they're setting up for the deep bomb. Please, Lord, do not let them throw down the field. What happens? They throw down the field, cool, score. And it's like, if I can see it coming, you can't tell me these coaches and players don't see this coming. And they sit there and practice and study tape and they practice. So I want to see the secondary make a stance against the Detroit Lions in that vaunted pass offense. Stafford, Johnson, whew.
Yeah.
That
Golden Tate too.
Golden Tate too. I don't know why did Seattle. I don't understand that, but they let him go. I want to see something. I want to see something out that secondary. Lawrence, what do you want to see? What do you want to see on Friday?
So I'm a little bit different. What I want to see Friday is I want to see the offense announced when they come out. I want to hear
instead of the defensive starters.
Yeah, I want to hear Mortal Kombat. So that I want to hear that.
Right.
I would love if when they go through and they have the captains come out and do heads or tails. If Blake goes right to Rasheed Mathis and goes, "What are those?" to issues, that would be hilarious.
Man, what kind of pipe dream is this?
I'm just saying. I mean, if we're looking at what we want to see, I definitely would love to see touchdowns. There's not another feeling that brings happiness and joy to my heart as touchdowns at the bank.
I agree.
And hug random people, high five random people. It doesn't matter how much alcohol is consumed or whatever. I want to see touchdowns, and I kind of hinted at this a little bit before. I want to see the 2 tight end spread without Thomas. Put in,
Harbor.
Put in Harbor and put in Lewis. Let's see if it works.
Put in Koyak. Let's see
what
you
Koyak,
got.
yeah. And I want to see the offense run again, and I want to see them do things. The defense, sure, I would love to see some sort of defensive pressure. If we could do what we did to Odell Beckham Jr., if we could do that to Megatron, that'd be great.
That's the statement. That's a statement.
I don't think it happens, just to be honest. Also, I want to see a shutdown that running back for the Lions. That guy has been going off.
Miradula?
Yeah, thank you for saying it. I wasn't going to
welcome.
that name.
I'm here for all your pronunciation needs.
So, I would love to see him get shut down or just slowed down because our run defenses looked shaky at best.
Very. I've seen them get gashed.
And that's the thing. I would love, this would be the most perfect scenario is that, go through, Huz gets pulled. Gus is like, come here. And then he sends it to Telvin Smith.
Oh, God.
Or just Paz has a good game, and then I can get off his back for a week.
Something aware that it's not, we're getting gashed at a position. I mean, the Lions still have Pettis, so we'll see how the tight end does. I'm curious to see how we are with that, but
it'll be interesting to see if they use Eric Ebron at all.
Eric Ebron.
He was completely a non-factor last year, which was disappointing because I expected big things out of him. Zach Ertz with the Lions now?
Oh, I may have been wrong. Maybe
I was like, Zach Ertz was an Eagle.
That's right, you're right.
Ebron,
it's
Lord,
Ebron.
you're killing me here, bro.
Sorry, it's Ebron. What can I say? Ebron? Anyway. No, I'm really wanting to see how the offense can function against a pretty decent defense in the Lions. Granted, they don't have Ndamukong Suh anymore, but I want to see a little bit more progression from that left half of the offensive line. They're hinting that Bowanko, may give Zane Beatles a rush for the money, but I doubt it at the left guard position. And
look, if Zane Beatles gets beat by Luke Bowanko, man, he is going Zane's gonna have to get traded out of here. That's the only
that
way.
Was coming.
You drafted AJ Cann in the 3rd round, thinking that he might be able to beat Zane, and I thought he could. But apparently he's not there yet. But man, if Luke is a good center, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if he can make that move to left guard.
Well, they hinted that he'll be at a tackle position, and that they'll.
The other Luke.
Yeah, and if he could take out, Luke Jokel, That would, I don't know. So I'm curious to
I
see.
want Jokel to be good.
I do too.
As much shit as I give Luke Jokel, I want him to be good.
Please let 76 be
He's
good.
too small. I still think he's too small. I think
He's
that's
a
been his
big
issue.
boy. He ain't. What are you talking about? He's so small. He's a big
I just
kid.
think
He's not big enough
I know that sounds
or
weird,
good enough.
but I look at offensive lines for the big boys, and I'm looking at Jokel, and I'm just like, he did gain weight in the offseason. I'm not saying he didn't do that. It's just that power push.
He's
So
never
what
had
if,
it. He's that finesse. He's a finesse guy, man.
What
And
if we
we're supposed to have a
traded
good run game. He's a
Jokel?
starter. I mean,
So
that's
pipe
what
dream,
they do.
pipe dream. We trade Jokel and a pick for Okun and Bruce Irvin. Yeah, let's make that happen.
No.
Bruce Irvin?
No.
You
I'll
don't
trade for Bruce. I'll trade for Bruce Irvin
You
right
don't
now.
want, you don't want Okun?
Nah.
Really?
There's always younger and better talent coming out.
I'm just wanting somebody established. I almost kind of wonder if Dave almost wonders, like, I got rid of a top 10 left tackle to go to Baltimore for Luke.
Part of me still. I don't know.
I got a question. I got a quick question for you guys. You guys think seams is going to be a big issue this year? Because I'm looking at the linebacking core. I'm looking at elite tight ends around the NFL, and I'm looking at Paz. And
He's a
me and
liability.
Lawrence, we talked
Liability.
about this extensively before about this. I feel like there's an issue that's not going to manifest fully until we get to the regular season when the hit starts popping. And I don't know. I'd see the way that they kind of let tight ends go into the secondary when all the tight end has to do in a real life situation is do a hot read and sit right there between the linebackers and the safeties because there's a big gap sitting there. And I'm like, so we'll see.
Hold on. You're concerned about elite tight ends and making
busting those seams like Julius Thomas is supposed to be doing to everybody else.
Give me a second. If you can give me 1 second, let me go down the list of elite tight ends that we're going to be facing this year.
Greg
All
Olsen,
right.
week 1.
So Carolina, Greg Olsen, elite. Nope. Week 2, Miami.
Whoa, time.
He had 1,000. He was the number 2 target for Cam last year.
Greg Olsen's not an elite tight end.
I don't think elite is the right word. He's good.
He's
Top
good
15.
tight end. He's not an
top
elite
10.
tight end.
Top 10 tight end.
All right,
Top 5.
Who's the tight end in Miami?
Disagree. I respectfully disagree with that, but continue with your list.
The nearest, the soonest elite tight end that they're going to have to face is week 3 at Gronk.
Yeah.
And then you've got Dwayne Allen the next week at Indy.
Kobe Fleener. He torched us.
Yeah. They use both of those guys, keeping in mind. So, and then you've got the Bucks. Who's the tight end for the Bucks?
Nobody.
Exactly. Who's the tight end for the Who's the tight end for the Texans?
Nobody.
Exactly. Who's the tight end for the Buffalo Bills? Exactly.
Nobody.
Jets.
Nobody.
Exactly. The Ravens.
Nobody.
Because Pitt is hurt.
Sure? What's his name?
Nobody. There's nobody there.
Tennessee.
I know that they have a decent tight end there, but he's not elite.
Okay. Then the Chargers.
Antonio Yates.
You gotta hope it's Ladarius Green. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know if Antonio Gates is
he'll be good. Bro,
he's still a threat. He's still a threat.
Come on,
he's still a
man.
threat.
Come on now.
All right,
Come on.
All right, then it's back to Tennessee, then back to the Colts.
Yeah.
Atlanta. Who's their tight end?
Nobody.
Exactly. New Orleans traded their tight end.
Yeah. No.
And then
who'd they pick up? No, that's C.J. Spiller, not tight end.
Exactly. And then last but not least, you're back at Houston. So on the list of elite tight ends that could possibly burn the Jaguars, there's 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. And then the rest are good to average. But hopefully we're not sitting
They're
here
gonna
being
put J.J. Watt as tight end. You know this. Look at him.
oh God.
They're gonna put
Don't,
J.J.
and we gotta end this show before I start cursing for real.
Okay. Well, we appreciate anybody that's watched us. We're going to go through next week. We're probably going to do a recap of the 3rd preseason game. Thank you, anybody that's kind of looked at us. We've got everything below for the JagBlitz Facebook, and then after this video will be posted to the JagBlitz YouTube. I want to thank BOJ Radio for coming out and guest hosting with us.
No problem at all. I love my hometown team. We're coming out. We're coming out this year. We're showing out this year. I'm telling you, I feel improvement. 7-9, 8-8 at the least. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen.
I'm with you on that.
7-9, 8-8. I can live with that.
If our offense looks like it did the last 2 weeks, and I know that there's not a lot that, I don't want to put too much into preseason, but if we can do what we're doing right now on offense with Blake, yeah, I'm right there with you.
All right.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Could this be the first episode that Comcast didn't screw me?
I know. Holy crap, that's right. This is the first episode where Comcast hasn't just cut Wale out.
You mean the big media conglomerate that doesn't have any customer service at their call centers?
Right. The one that, spends a lot of money claiming that they're best, but they're really just terrible.
No comments.
We will take your money though, Comcast.
Yes, if Comcast wants to support us, we are looking for any supporters. So let us know. Local.
Comcast is the greatest.
They are wonderful. Please give us all
dripping with sarcasm.
No sarcasm there whatsoever. How dare you say that, sir? I said that at the bottom of my heart.
But thank you for anybody that watched. We will catch you all next week, 8 o'clock. Bye.
Peace.